What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance The Other Way, Season 4, Episode 12, The Glow Soon Becomes Ashes. Now, little side note, do y'all remember when TLC, the Learning Channel, used to have a lot of educational programs and now it's turned into this cesspool of trashy reality TV shows that are centered around very toxic relationships? So I propose TLC to go from the Learning Channel to the Toxic Love Channel. I think that's what it should be called from now on. Anyway, let's get into Debbie and Oussama. So in the very beginning of the season, I had said that I don't believe Debbie and Oussama are a real relationship. I think that they're fake. Either they're hired actors or they knew each other beforehand and decided to apply for this show and pretend to be a real couple trying to start this new life in Morocco. I just find it hard to believe that someone, because Debbie is kooky and quirky and all this other stuff and weird, but I don't think she's this stupid to fall for a 20-something-year-old Moroccan boy and to go live in Morocco at her old age of 64 years old. I just don't believe it. It doesn't sound realistic to me at all, unless she really is this dumb. She really is as dumb as a box of rocks. And if she is this dumb, how does she make it in life so far? How does she get this far in life if she really is this dumb? I just don't buy it. Now, Oussama, I don't believe he ever fell for Debbie. In the beginning, I really thought that, like I said, I thought it was a fake relationship because I could not buy Oussama really falling for this woman. But now we see that, if we're going to believe this, that it was all a scam to begin with. That's more believable to me than this love story between Oussama and Debbie. But anyway, let's just get into it. So TLC is going to present this to me as a real relationship. So I'm going to review it as if it's a real relationship. Okay, so Debbie, this is, she wakes up day 2 in Chemiset, I think it's called, the town where Oussama's family lives. And, they have a farm out there, and it's not, the life over there is a little bit more rugged than the life in Rabat, in the big city of Rabat. So she wakes up on day 2, and she's struggling, y'all. She's complaining about the toilet. She's complaining about the shower. She's complaining about the damn stairs. Now, I don't know what's wrong with the toilet, because she says it's a working, functional toilet, but because it's got a decorative seat, that bothers her for some reason. And then the shower, she struggled with the shower. The way she described it, it was difficult for her to, figure it all out. And then the stairs have no railings. And so she's always in fear of falling and breaking her neck. So Debbie says that she feels like she's aged 10 years in one day living in Chemiset. So she comes downstairs and for breakfast, and Oussama's father and sister are there. And she presents Oussama's father with a gift, and it's a gift of a drawing kit. And the father himself used to draw a lot when he was younger. So this gift really meant a lot to him because he was thinking about actually going back to his art, going back to drawing. So he was really happy with the gift. So during tea, Oussama's dad says that he's happy that Debbie will be helping his son go to the United States. And so Debbie took it all in stride. She didn't fall over from shock and surprise, but she does explain herself that no, I'm going to be moving here to Morocco. I think with Debbie, she probably thought, well, because we haven't explained to the family that I have moved here permanently, they just assume that I'm going to be taking their son back to the US. And so she clarifies for them that no, I'm actually going to be living in Morocco permanently. I'm going to be living here. And so the father and the sister are kind of confused. They don't really understand what's going on now. And Debbie says that it's obvious to me, this is what she tells us in her confessional. She says, it's obvious to me that Oussama gave his family the impression that she was going to take Oussama to the US and help him get a visa. But that's not the reality of the situation, she says. So the sister is very surprised. And the sister the sister asked her brother, oh, so you're okay with remaining here in Morocco? And Oussama says that he has no problem staying in Morocco, but you can tell that his mood kind of changed a little bit, right? So when Oussama expected Debbie to return so when he was expecting her to go back to the United States, when they were still in Rabat at the hotel, and he just assumed that she was going to be going back to the US in 1 or 2 months, I guess that's when he had planned to be going back with her. So y'all do remember a few episodes ago when he was like, well, you're going to go back to the US and you're going to finish up your affairs in the US. And Debbie was like, I have no intentions of going back to the US. This was the first time that he broke her trust with her. And so I guess when he said that to her, he really was expecting her to go back. But I think he was going to somehow finagle his way to go back with her, but he hadn't told her that yet. Anyways, so he tells his sister, no, I'm fine remaining here in Morocco. But like I said, his mood had completely changed. So then Oussama takes her out on the property, the farm or the pastures that his family owns. He takes her out there, I guess, to kind of let her see exactly, what they have. And this is also where they're going to start painting. They want to paint some of the scenery because it's very beautiful out there. It's very peaceful. So on their way, Debbie gets distracted by a donkey and she wants to ride the donkey. So she gets on the donkey. He helps her on the donkey. And, as she starts riding, I guess there are some very low hanging branches that she couldn't avoid or maneuver away from, and she ends up falling off the damn donkey. So that was, really good comical relief. Okay, fine. So now they sit down, they get serious about painting because, both of them are real true artistes. So they have to still keep up with their craft. So they start, drawing and painting the scenery, and Debbie thinks that this is a really good time. Oh, first she was, she thinks this is a really good time to bring up the conversation about what is going to be their very next step. I guess with the talk of, the family talking about, or the family having the impression that they were going back to the United States, I think Debbie wanted to get clarification from Oussama, like why did your family think that? I think that's where she was trying to get to. But instead of wording it like that, she just was very vague about it and said, so what's going to be our next plan? And so he tells her to be quiet. He needs peace and quiet because he's trying to concentrate because he's painting. So he wants to avoid the whole conversation about what their next step is. So he says, Debbie, I need you to be quiet because I'm trying to paint. And Debbie tells him, well, you can do both. You can multitask. And Debbie wants to talk about their future plans. Then Oussama got kind of stern, right? And he said that all they do is talk about their plans. And he needs a break from talking about their plans, and he just wants to paint. He tells her morning, noon, and night, all we talk about is our plans, our plans, our plans, our plans. Now I just want peace and quiet, and I want to be able to paint. So Debbie tells us that through text messages that they would have really deep, meaningful conversations, but in person, she's not getting any of that from Oussama. So he accuses her. Okay, so then she brings it up once again, about we need to talk about this now. And I don't know why you keep putting it off or whatever she said. Well, at this point, now he's getting upset. And he tells her, you're sick. You have a mental illness. He tells her this. He completely changed. And Debbie was like, you're calling me sick because I want to have a discussion about our future. And so Debbie says, well, you know what? Maybe my kids were right about you. I was there trying to defend you, and they were trying to let me know, they were trying to put me up on game that you were just, trying to use me. And maybe my kids were right about you. So then Oussama got real dead serious, y'all. He turned around, he looked at her. I mean, he tried to look at her because, he's got that one eye that just doesn't cooperate. So he looks at her and he says to her, so you want to talk about our plans? Okay, let's talk about our plans, Debbie. He tells her the plan is you come here and then we'll go back to the United States and I will go there to work and we're going to start our life there. I will never change my mind about this. And if you don't agree, we can stop all of this right now. And I was like, whoa, Debbie, meet the real Oussama. Hello, how you doing? Because I was like, so this is what it's really all about. If we're going to believe that this is a real relationship, this is what it's really all about. So Oussama was just on the internet, perusing, hunting for his prey, for a gullible, older American woman. And it has to be somebody older because the assumption is, maybe the older women have more money saved up. They have better financial means. So he was out there hunting for his prey. He came across Debbie. They connected because they both like art and poetry and all of that. And he sunk his claws into her. And completely played her, scammed her from day one. This was nothing but game. This was nothing but a scam, a con from day one. Before she even bought her ticket to Morocco, she was a victim. She was a victim of the scam. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, so what happened to the soft spoken Oussama reading poetry about his love for Debbie in front of this, in front of people, in front of this audience, talking about, oh, Debbie, my love, I'll love you as long as the sun rises, as long as the sun sets, I will always have love for you. Debbie, 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 my love, my soul, my heart, my this, my that. No, Debbie is your ticket out of Morocco and into the United States. And when they showed us the clip for next week's episode and they're sitting together in their confessional, tension is still pretty high between them. He tells her, this is what we're going to do. You're going to take me back to America. And she calls him like, you're a cold-hearted snake. And I'm just like, I was surprised that, that this poet, this painter, this artiste, all of a sudden turned into this snake. I don't know what else to call it. How he turned into this. The way he looked at her, I was just like, wow. Anywho, good luck to all of that, Debbie. Good luck to all of that. Hopefully she has enough sense and wherewithal to get the hell out of Dodge and come back home to her kids and just take this as, lesson learned, kids. Lesson learned. Y'all were right. I was wrong. Lesson learned. The next time we see you, Debbie, we need to see you packing up your bags and coming back to Alabama, wherever the hell you're from. That's what we need to see. We don't need to see you spending one more millisecond in Morocco with this man. Get you on the next train, Uber, taxi, whatever, to Rabat or wherever you landed, and get back on this plane and come back home to your kids and stop fooling around because you got conned, you got scammed. Moving on to Jen and Rishi. So Jen and Rishi and Randy, and I think the other friend's name is Laura, they're still sitting at the damn restaurant. We're at the scene now where Jen had left the table because she was so frustrated with Rishi's lies and his double talk. So she left the table and she's in the bathroom. So her two friends follow her in there. Rishi never gets up to check on her. Her two friends follow her in there and they talk about this plan. So what they plan on doing is because no, they didn't talk about it then. It was at the dance thing. But so they're in the bathroom. They're talking to her. They're trying to make her feel better or whatever. And Rishi had told Jen's friends that the reason why Jen is so confused about the family finding him a wife and how long did he know about it is because his English is not so good and something got lost in translation and whatever. Okay, fine. He's just a liar and a playboy and he's not serious about marrying Jen. And this is just a waste of time to even watch because I don't think it's going to end with Jen and Rishi getting married. But anywho, so Jen takes her friends to a traditional Indian dance class. And so after they do the whole dancing thing, they sit down and they have a conversation. And Jen says that she wants her friends. Oh, wait a minute. Before they did the dancing lessons, she tells us that she wants her friends to experience India outside of her tumultuous relationship with Rishi. So she wants them to talk about other things and do other things that are not centered around her relationship with Rishi. So when they do the dance lesson and then they sit down, they talk about her tumultuous relationship with Rishi. So she suggests that they all go meet Rishi's family because Rishi did invite everybody to his home to meet his family. And so they have this plan that what they're going to do is they're going to tell the family that Rishi and Jen are actually engaged to let the family know. And they say it's going to be a good thing, right? Because it's going to take the burden off of Rishi telling his family because Rishi is dragging his feet and they don't think that he's ever going to do it, that he's just playing games with her. So So they're going to cut to the chase, and they're going to be the ones to reveal to the family that they're actually engaged. So the day finally arrives when they're supposed to go meet the family. She hired an interpreter to help with the translation because remember, Rishi said the reason why Jen is always so confused is because his English is not so good. So they hired a translator. The translator arrives at Jen's apartment, and that's where their scene ends. And Jen said something about when she saw the translator, her name is Bindia, which I think is a very beautiful name. Her name is Bindia. Jen says, well, maybe when Rishi's mom sees the translator, she's going to want Rishi to marry her because she's young, she's Indian. Perfect match. Moving on to Isabel and Gabriel. So Gabe is back in Florida, and it's going to take about a month for him to get all his documents together. And so he's meeting up with his mom and his sister, and he finally tells them that he is engaged to Isabel. The sister tells us in her confessional that it kind of hurt her that Gabe would hide this from her because her and Gabe are very, very close, and she considers Gabe her best friend. So the fact that he didn't tell her, it really hurt her feelings. So the mom doesn't understand why Gabe would not have told them sooner because they're kind of like, we don't have a problem with you getting engaged to Isabel. We just have a problem with you not telling us. Now, Gabe says the reason why he didn't want to tell his mom and his sister was because he thought that they were going to criticize his decision to marry Isabel because they always claim that he makes very impulsive decisions that don't end well. And so they probably would have talked him out of it. And that's why he didn't tell them. But they were like, you know what? Well, the mom was, do what you want. We don't really care. The sister, she acted as if she was okay with it, but I got the feeling that she really truly wasn't, and that she was going to try to still convince Gabe to not go through with it. So Gabe says that he gets his secrecy from his mom, and he said it kind of aggressively because when they were kind of like harping on him, like, why would you keep this from us? It's always been the three of us against the world. We've all been so close with one another. Why wouldn't you tell us? And then he barks out, I get my secrecy from you, Mom. And I was like, Gabe, relax. I mean, that's kind of like a horrible thing to say to your mom. But even if he does get his secrecy from his mom, you're still an adult, okay? You're a grown man. You're still making your own decisions on how you want to live your life. You're doing everything. You've made a whole bunch of decisions on your own, okay? You made a whole bunch of decisions on your own. Transitioning to be your true self, moving to Colombia, doing all these other things. So you made that decision not to tell your family, okay? Stop making it seem like, people inherit secrecy. It's like it's a genetic thing that you inherit. Anyways, moving on. So Gabe also tells him that Isabel's parents know about him being transgender and that they do accept him. And the mom and the sister were very relieved about that because they're very protective of Gabe and they don't want anybody to give him a hard time for him living his life the way he wants to live his life. The sister asks if Isabel will get a job, and Gabe says that she has a kid to take care of. Okay, a kid that's in school all day. Because we know that the older daughter, she's practically grown. The son is 11 years old, but he's in school all day. So what is she doing the whole time the kid is in school? Why can't she get a job? I don't understand. But, Gabe has that thing in him where he wants to be the provider and he wants to take care of his women. So it's cool with him that Isabel doesn't work. So then the mother and the sister suggest that Gabe get a prenuptial agreement signed. And he does not like that at all. Of course he doesn't like it because there's no way in hell Isabel will go for that. Isabel will give him the damn blues if he brings up a prenup. So Gabe also was worried about his sister and Isabel meeting because they both have very strong personalities. And so he's really worried about, the possibility of them clashing. So now is the day for him to leave for Colombia. He has all of his documents to get married. On the way to the airport, the sister once again brings up the prenup. Gabe says no, he is not going to do a prenuptial agreement. The sister tells us in her confessional that Gabe goes for very needy, jealous, stupid women. I don't know if Isabel is stupid, but she definitely is needy and she definitely does have a jealousy streak. So she's right. 90% of that is correct. And it's funny how, but whatever, it's his life. If he likes those kind of women, then that's his prerogative, right? Gabe then arrives at the airport, and so they're at the airport now. They say their goodbyes, and he's gonna be getting married in exactly 2 weeks, and the mom and the sister are gonna be joining him in Colombia for the wedding. And Gabe is still very worried about Monica and Isabel meeting. I am too, because Monica seems like someone who is going to say exactly what's on her mind. Moving on to Nicole and Mahmoud. So, because Mahmoud doesn't approve of Nicole's new relationship with Nuran, her new friendship with Nuran, he's going to try to force his sister in law on Nicole so that, she can be brainwashed, hopefully, by the sister in law, because the sister in law has adapted very well in Egypt and is going with the flow and is doing what she is supposed to be doing. So, he's hoping that the sister-in-law will influence Nicole. Well, Nicole, he don't even have to worry about Nicole and Nuran hanging out, because Nicole herself, I think, is kind of like pulling away from Nuran, because she herself doesn't agree that she herself also agrees that Nuran was a little bit too aggressive with Mahmoud. So she's out with her sister-in-law, Fatima. They go out to the marketplace, and Nicole is comparing her life in Egypt with her sister-in-law's life in Egypt. And the biggest difference of all is that the sister-in-law, Fatima, she fell in lock, stock, and barrel into Egyptian life, whereas Nicole is struggling. Also, the fact that she has to depend so much on Mahmoud's family for every little thing, that also doesn't sit well with Nicole, because she's naturally a very independent woman. So basically, she's just laying down the groundwork as far as why she needs to leave Egypt and why she will not ever be happy in Egypt. She has a conversation with her sister-in-law, telling her sister-in-law that she does plan on moving back to the United States. The sister-in-law tells her, well, you're going to have to tell Mahmoud. Well, of course she's going to tell Mahmoud. And the sister-in-law says, well, Mahmoud's going to be very upset, because he doesn't want, I don't think his mom will be happy about it either. So Nicole is like, well, I got to do what I got to do, and I still love my husband. I want him to come to the United States with me. So Mahmoud surprises Nicole with taking her to the cat shelter, because she's been really wanting a cat. So he's always said no, but this time he's going to agree for her to get a cat, because I think he sees the writing on the wall that Nicole does not plan on staying in Egypt for long, so he wants to make it as comfortable for her as possible. So even though he never wanted her to have a cat, now he's going to agree to her to have a cat. So they go to the cat shelter. She picks the cat that she wants, but before she makes her final decision, she wants to sit down and have a conversation with him, because she doesn't want to stay in Egypt. So there's really no need for her to get a pet. So she tells Mahmoud that she plans on going back to the United States. Mahmoud's big issue with Nicole is that she's constantly changing her damn mind, and it bothers him. She can't make up her mind for nothing. She changed her mind about living in Egypt. She changed her mind about dressing traditionally. So he says, you're constantly changing your mind. I feel like at some point you're going to change your mind about me. And she's like, no, baby, I love you. I'll never leave you, blah, blah, blah. So then she says, I want to go back to the United States, and I want you to come back with me. And she had already applied for the spousal visa. And this is where I got confused, because if she already applied for the spousal visa and he knew about it, because I'm assuming he had to fill out paperwork himself, what was the point of her even coming to Egypt, making it seem like she was going to live there? Now, funny thing is, I read an article on some blog where it talked about how the people on 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way really have no intention at all to live in these other countries. And I'm beginning to see that, because out of every couple on this season, it's probably only Gabe and Isabel. It's probably only Gabe that's actually going to stay in the foreign country, because everybody else, you can kind of tell that at some point someone is coming back to the United States. Either the American is coming back, or like in the case of Nicole and Mahmoud, she wants both of them to return to the United States. So this really is not about, starting life in this other country. And I'm trying to think of any other season where the American stayed permanently in the other country, and I can't think of any. Either the American came back by themselves, or they came back with their spouse to start life in America. So that's what they plan on doing, because she's already applied for the spousal visa, and they tell us this second to the last episode, because what was the point of her being on 90 Day Fiancé The Other Way if she had applied for a spousal visa before she even left for Egypt? So she had intentions of coming back all along. So why couldn't she just be on the regular 90-day franchise with her trying to get her man over here? I'm so confused about Nicole and my mood. Anyways, moving on to, I want to talk about Danielle and Johan. So Danielle says in her confessional that Johan is acting so childish about something that's so insignificant. This is the day that she's supposed to go meet up with her ex-boyfriend. And of course, he woke up in a foul mood because of the night before that, of them arguing about her wanting to go see her ex-boyfriend and the fact that she wants to do this around the time of his birthday. So he woke up in a foul mood, and he's still upset about her seeing her ex-boyfriend. And she tells him, well, you can join us if you want. He's like, F that. I don't want to join y'all. So he tells her, look, if you want to go, get the hell out. So she goes to meet up with her ex-boyfriend. I think his name is Talon. And he is a semi-pro basketball player. So I'm assuming he's really tall. Nicole, with her little short self, loves men who are like 3 times her size. So Talon says to Danielle that, no, Talon tells us that Danielle is the most mature woman he's ever been with. He says that Danielle taught him a lot about spirituality and finances. The woman who considers herself a good witch and who's in bankruptcy. He thanks her for teaching him about spirituality and finances. Okay. So Danielle says that Johan is not cool with them, reuniting like this, and they diagnose him. They diagnose Johan and say that, well, he has a problem with us meeting because of his past trauma with past girlfriends. How dare they diagnose Johan? Everybody has past trauma from past relationships. That's why those relationships are in the past and those people are our exes. Too bad, so sad. We all can't have healthy, thriving relationship with our exes like Danielle and Talon. But yeah, there's something, when things don't go right, you break up and you move on to the next. It doesn't mean that the reason why he's struggling with his new wife, desperately wanting to see her ex-boyfriend, it's not because of past trauma from past relationships. It's because it's a messed up idea. It's a wrong decision, Danielle, for you to express to your husband that you really want to see this ex-boyfriend. Like, you don't see that? You don't get that? Or is this just all for show? Or are you just acting like this for a paycheck? I'm not understanding why you're so lost in the sauce and why your husband is not crazy about the idea of you wanting to meet your ex-boyfriend and you fighting him on it. That's the thing. It's one thing if you just would have been like, hey, Johan, my ex-boyfriend's going to be coming to the DR and he wants to know if I can meet up with him or if we can meet up with him. Are you cool with that? And if Johan says no, then you drop it. But the fact that you kept on arguing with this man on his birthday about seeing another man, and you kept on you stood 10 toes down. Like, I want to see him. I need to see him. I have the right to see him. It's my decision to make. You can't tell me what to do. That's where it gets kind of crazy. That's where your actions are very, very suspicious, Danielle. But Danielle seems like someone also who's probably planning on going back to the United States, because the way that she's talking about her husband, calling him childish and all this other stuff, it's like she has no respect for this man. Like I said before, I think she uses Johan just as a plaything. She uses him as like a real life sex toy. I think that's what she uses him for. I don't think she really respects him as a husband or a man or as a human being. She just sees him as, okay, when I want to get my rocks off, I'm gonna jump on him, and then that's the only thing he's really good for. I don't know. Moving on to Chris and Jamie. Okay, so Chris talks to her mom about her relationship with Jamie and how messed up it is. And, giving all kinds of implications and indications that she thinks that Jamie is a gold digger, which really made me upset, because the only thing that we've seen from Jamie is just she's been so sweet and so patient with Chris and all of her shenanigans, her messed up health, her broken back and neck, her vertigo. What else does she have? Does she have vertigo? I don't even know. Whatever you see in the medical books, Chris has it. And Jamie has been so patient, taking her to go get her her weapons, her medicine. She doesn't feel comfortable having a big old hunting knife in her apartment, but she agreed with it because that's what her wife wanted. And I'm just like, where does the gold digger part come out? So Chris, like I said, she paints this really negative picture of Jamie to her mom. And of course, her mom runs with it because her mom never liked Jamie to begin with. Her mom had always seen Jamie as a user. Now, the story that really bothered me was when Chris told her mom that she gave Jamie her necklace that had her father's ashes. And she said that Jamie asked her if she could sell the necklace in order to be able to pay rent or something. Number one, I know damn well that that necklace was not going to give anybody enough money, not even to buy groceries for the day. But somehow we're supposed to believe that that necklace was going to generate enough money for her to pay for rent or whatever it was that she needed money for. I don't believe it. And so she tells her mom this story like, oh my God. And she wanted to sell the necklace that I gave her with my father's ashes, to really hone in on she's a horrible person, mom, that she was willing to do that. And it's like, Chris, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is mad wrong. This is the woman that you chose. This is the woman, excuse me, that you proposed to twice. You asked her to marry you 2 times. You moved to Colombia for her. But now you want to paint this picture of her being really horrible to justify why you won't go back to Colombia instead of just being woman enough and grown enough to be like, hey, life in Colombia sucks and I want to come back to the United States. So okay. So, and plus, let's not forget that she gave her that damn necklace because it was a promise that she was going to return back to Colombia. And Chris says if the only way that she's going to return to Colombia is if Jamie gets a job. Then she also tells her mom that Jamie doesn't want to work. Like she quit her job and doesn't want to work and she expects me to take care of her, not telling her mom the full story. So a 2-week trip has now ballooned into 5 months. Chris has been gone for 5 whole months. She rarely talks to her wife. So Jamie meets up with her friend and, she tells her friend, they're talking about this whole job situation. She tells her friend that she quit her job because Chris told her to quit her job because Chris wanted her to devote all of her time to their food truck business. So she didn't tell her mom that part. She just told her mom she quit her job and didn't want to go back to work. And plus, the reason why she hasn't gotten a job yet is because Jamie herself is a foreigner in Colombia, and it's difficult for her to get a job. Chris herself said that she couldn't find a job in Colombia, that it was easier for her to come back to America, make some money, and then return. So if it was hard for you as a foreigner, why would it be any easier for Jamie? Other than the fact that she speaks the language, how could it be any easier for Jamie? And Jamie also is a foreigner. So soon after Chris got on her case about getting a job. So she tells her to quit, and then she gets on her case about how she needs to go get a job. And this is when Jamie explains how she can't get a job because she's not Colombian. Now, the agreement was that Chris would pay the rent and Jamie would pay for the utilities. So Jamie was going to pitch in financially. Jamie hasn't officially broken up with Chris yet because she wants to meet with Chris when she returns to Colombia, and she wants to hear directly from Chris about the state of their relationship and where this marriage is going. And that's the only reason why she hasn't completely cut her off, because supposedly Chris is supposed to return to Colombia for whatever reason, I don't know, and they're going to have a conversation about the state of their marriage. It's just really sad how Chris did Jamie. Usually we're used to the foreigner, the person who doesn't live in America. We're used to them running game, but in this situation, the American ran game. I don't even know. There's a lot going on with Chris that we don't know about, that we don't see on camera, because nothing she does makes any sense. She goes to Jamie before, then came back, and then got mad when Jamie moved on with her life. Okay, fine. Jamie returned to her. She goes to Colombia. She ghosted her for 5 months. And if Jamie were to move on with somebody else, it would be Jamie's fault. Chris would get mad at Jamie. If Jamie decided to be like, well, my wife was supposed to be gone for 2 weeks, but she's been gone for 5 months. She rarely talks to me, so I'm going to move on with my life. If she were to do that, Chris would be upset and call her a cheater, all kinds of names, and gaslight her. So I don't know. There's something going on with Chris that we don't see, that we don't know. But there's a lot happening with her behind the scenes, I'm assuming, because her actions make no sense. Why go to Colombia, stay there for like how long was she there? 3 months, maybe? And then you come back and you don't even want to talk to your wife and you claim that you're working to support her. Okay, but you can make time to say good night, good morning, give her 5 minutes out of your day. I mean, you gave your mom a whole lot of time to talk to her. Why can't you give the same amount of time to your wife? And if you don't want to come, I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot going on with Chris that I feel like we will never know about. And so this whole relationship just is not going to make any sense, because it doesn't make any sense why you move to Colombia, get married, come back to the United States. You don't want to talk to your wife. You want to tell the world that your wife is a gold digger, that she was just trying to use you for money. But you're the one that told her to quit her job. I don't get it. I absolutely don't get it. I don't understand. But we're almost to the end. I cannot wait for the tell-all. I'm pretty sure everybody except for Gabe is no longer together, but we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.